Hello! Welcome back! Today we are moving into the dressing stage of the water/series. Now that we have a solid foundation, the blockout, the animation and the cameras, it's finally time to dress the effect. To start adding texture, shape and beautiful color. In this episode I'm focusing on the shader for the outer slash. I spent some time exploring different styles and I decided to go with something softer and more energetic. I didn't work much on textures yet. Most of my attention was on the shader logic itself. What decisions I make, how I shape the motion, and why certain choices support the final feeling of the effect. It might not be perfect yet, but I'm truly doing my best, and I hope this episode gives you a clear view into how the visual language starts forming once the dressing stage begins. Let's dive in. So, let's start. What I did from the previous video, I made an environment for our character and for the slash it's doing. So, I just duplicated the scene we had, add terrain, add some trees, add some houses, some flowers, so the character is not on the gray background, but he is in environment, and I made this place for him to stand and to cast any abilities I want to make further. And I made this environment bright. This is a sunny day, bright colors. I have several views. So I have a camera front view, and the idea was that this is like a forest. He is standing here casting some slashes, and there is a house and he lives in this house in the forest. Perfect. And also I have this side camera. In this side camera, first I wanted to make some mountains there, but then I decided that this place will be closed, so I decided to make like a scene there and paint. This is just a terrain and I just paint some blue colors and that's it. And this is another house in his village. He is living, maybe this is his second house and it has a sea view. And also I have a back camera. This is just camera from third person camera, and this is a grass place, and the beach is starting here. This is like a sand and he can go there and swim in the sea. I had lots of fun making this, and yes, this is how it looks. So, a quick overview of the scene. I added a terrain and I painted all the ground. I have painted the trees, the grass, the flowers. I added a skybox. Skybox could be added here, lighting, environment, and in the skybox material I can change the skybox. I also added some fog. And I enabled, in camera, I enabled the skybox, because when we in the game view it has an option what to render. There is a background type. I can choose a solid color and I can choose a color here and I can choose a skybox, and this will be selected in the skybox. And also for the scene here I have settings. I can visualize my skybox or I can turn it off. So that's the scene. And it gives me lots of inspiration because it's much more interesting to work in the environment, and if this environment resonates, this is like the perfect case. And for transfer, okay, so I just duplicated the scene and then I added an environment. But for example, if I want to transfer the whole character with the whole settings and the whole timeline into the different scene, what I can do, and actually what I did, I added everything under one empty object. So I created just an empty object, right click in the hierarchy, create empty, and it's very important to reset the all transforms, so the object is in the center of the world in 0, 0, 0 position. Then I name it how I want, and here I put the timeline, but actually I can put playable directory here, and timeline will be in this empty object. So put timeline there, character, and 2 slashes. And saved it as a prefab in the prefab folder. So now in prefab folder I have 2 prefabs, one for the particle system and another for the whole setup. And this is a good approach to move the whole scene from the whole setup from scene to scene, but also it has some limitation. For example, if I want to make some changes in this prefab, first of all, I need to apply all changes to the main prefab, and then I have to go inside. And if I want to apply changes at this prefab, I want to do it inside the main prefab. So this is like a system of prefabs now, but it's manageable, it's okay. But now, what is the beneficial of this? If I, for example, create a new scene, empty, and if I open it up, I will place some ground, just in case. And now, if I go to my prefab and put it here, now I have character and I have a timeline already in, and it's working. It's working, and it's doing exactly what it did in the previous scene. So this way I can bring my character with animations from scene to scene. Okay, so what we are going to do in this video? In this video we are going to make a shader and to understand the process of syncing and what is lying under the decision when shader is making. And we will start from the outer slash. We will start from the outer slash. This is this big slash, because I want to start from this element, because and the shader here will be very interesting to do, because it should be like the water shape. I want it to feel like a flow, like an energy, like a water energy, and I want it to be flowy, energetic, this kind of stuff. And I want it to look like water. And why I want to start from this element, and this shader I will be using for slash outer and this slash outer contour, because this is the same, but this will be less opaque and less emissive, and it will be very subtle. But other shaders and elements will be pretty much easy to do, because this is going to be a bright stripe, because this is like a heart of the effect, and this beam and sparks and other flashes, this is also going to be probably the generic shader, but the main point of interest, this is this element. And because we have already blocking and all of the elements are working pretty much fine, we can dress it. What do I want here? Here I want some water shapes, something caustic like water, and I want it to be like water blue. And I want it to render from the both sides. I want to hide these edges, so let's start from something simple. Let's start from the texture. To create texture, I use Substance Designer, and here is a note for making these water shapes in Substance Designer, and it's a name RT Caustic Grayscale, and we can make some water noises just from noise. We need, for example, we can take a Berlin noise, and then we can make a water shape, and this gives us these caustic elements just from hood. And I can play with these settings to get something interesting. And what I also want to do, I want to run it through levels, because I want it to be brighter. I save it already in the folder. Now there is a texture here, and I want to make a shader. European unlit water slash outer. I want to open it, and here I want to put it in a folder, and I will name this folder water slash, and this means that when I will create a material already from the shader water slash outer. And if I save it, now if I open the material, I will have all my shaders under this folder. So materials should live in material folder, and let's assign this material to this element. And let's dive into the shader. So here I want it to be overwritten, transparent, both, no shadows. What we will need? We will definitely need main texture. We will definitely need main UVs, main tiling. We will definitely need main offset. We will need main color, main opacity, main, and main intensity, and main color. Lots of things. So for tiling, the default will be 1, 1, for offset 0, 0, power 1, opacity 1, intensity 1, because these are multipliers, almost all of them, and color will be white and HDR. I want to sample a texture. I want it to be here. I want tiling and offset. Let it be tiling offset. I want this texture to be panning. So I multiply offset with type, and now my texture can scroll. So okay, let's start it from this. So this is the basics. Now I have texture. I can put it here. I can scroll it. I can change the tiling. And that's all what I can do for now. But let's start from color, probably, or opacity. Okay, let's add some controls for the opacity first. So for the opacity, I want a power node to run first. Then I want to multiply it by a factor, so I can enhance it. And then I also want to multiply it with vertex color to change alpha through the vertical system. And after that I want to saturate it and put it inside alpha. Now I can control the opacity, but this all good. But I want my slash to have different colors from the outside and inside. So now I am rendering both faces, front and back. If I choose back, I will be rendering only the back faces. And if I choose front here, I will be rendering only the front faces, but I want both, and I want them to be like with different colors. This could be achieved in different ways. I will try to use only one mesh and only one shader. So here I don't want it to be main color, but I want it to be front face color. Front face color. And I want another color, but this time it will be back face color. And here we have is front face. This is a boolean, and we have a branch logic inside shader. And is front face is a condition. And so if we are dealing with front face, I want to multiply my texture with front face color like this. And if we are dealing with back face, I want to multiply my texture with back face color here. So is front face. If true, then front face. If false, it means that there will be a back face. And then I want to multiply it by intensity and put it into the base color. And let's check. So now we have two colors, and I want my front faces to be light blue, and I want my back faces to be dark blue, and I want this to be brighter. And with this technique we can control all the parameters. So if I want this back face to be with more power or to be more visible, I can create the same logic for the opacity as well, and I will do it. I want the same range but for opacity, and this chain will be front face. I will rename it to the front face here, and I want to duplicate it and to make, and now I need to duplicate this top and swap the parameters. So now if I go here, I can enhance back face the way I want. And I feel like I want it to be even more white. So I want to run it through else one more time. Okay, so this is the basics. Now we have control for the front face, for the back face, and this control is separate. And to make things less chaotic, we can make a category. So I will add a category and I will name it front face and back face. If I save it, now I have these categories, and this is very useful. So what I want to do next thing I want to do, I want to mask these edges, because now it's hard edge and I don't want this to be hard edged. I want it to be masked, and this could be achieved in different ways. I will go with texture masking. So basically what I need to do, I need a texture, I need gradient, and let's start just from this gradient, and this will be the mask 01. I want to add texture sampler here. I want to sample the texture. I don't want it to move, so I just use styling and offset, and I want to add a multiplier and power also. One power multiplier. And to mask the alpha, all we need to do is to multiply opacity with this opacity mask. So it will take the texture, and texture is just a set of data and with 0 and 1s. So when the UV will be here, the opacity will be 0, because if I multiply something with 0, it will be 0. And for 1 it won't be anything. So if I multiply my opacity with opacity mask, and here I also want to saturate it, and I will create a category opacity mask. And now if I assign the texture here, now we can see that we are masking, and we are masking our edges. If you remember from the video where we did our meshes for this slash, I just duplicated the UVs, so the UVs on the outer slash are the same for the upper side and for the lower side. So for the texture of the mask, basically first of all what we want to do is we want to rotate it 90 degrees, and now we will be masking the start and the end edges, and also now we need a mask that will, horizontal mask that not will be going like from end to start, but from the up to down, or down up. And this is another gradient. We want gradient like this. I want to run it through levels and probably enhance some white areas. And now we want to multiply these two gradients together with blend node. Save this texture, and now we are hiding the edges of our mesh, but this part is staying bright, because I don't want to hide it and to cut the mesh into two pieces. I want it to be solid here. So now it's starting to look like water, because it's bright on the one side, and when we are looking like in the deep water, it started to be that dark colored blue. And what I want to do next, I want to hide this edge. In Unity shader graph, and there is a node that calls Fresnel effect. We can see that it takes mesh and it could mask the edges of this mesh. What I want here, I want parameter Fresnel power. And this is also will be affecting the opacity, so I can just multiply this Fresnel effect with my opacity and plug it into the alpha of our shader. But if we watch at our slash now, it will work. It's working, but it's also what it's doing, it's also masking the back faces. And what we want to do, we want to make our custom Fresnel, and for make our custom Fresnel, it's really simple. We want normal and view direction vector, and we want dot product of this. And we already get it, and we don't need any one minus node, so I will just unplug it for now. And the power, I can run it through power node, and you see if the power is 2, the edge masking is bigger. So now it's working as I want. And I want to saturate it to prevent any errors. And also I want to add a multiplier already here to enhance the bright part. And I want default value of multiplier to be 1. Saturate and plug into the alpha. And if we watch it now, it still don't work. Probably because we need an absolute value here. So basically what we need to do for the Fresnel effect to work, we need to run it through the absolute value, so the back faces will have not -1 vector but 1, because absolute value, what does absolute value? It takes any value and put it in the plus sign. So if we had minus 0.5, we will have 0.5. If we have -1, we will have 1. And for Fresnel effect, for the dot product, it's crucial in this case, because if we are dealing with the back faces, the result of the dot product of normal vector and view direction for the back faces will be -1, because the normals are facing the different direction, the opposite direction. And to revert this, we want to make these values but in absolute, so we won't be dealing with the minus values, but we will dealing with the positive values. And for the opacity, we can deal with only from the range is only from 0 to any positive value. And in this case, we need to run the Fresnel effect from the absolute to deal with the positive vectors. And here I have now control, and I can make power bigger, but also I can multiply it by a bigger number, so we will be hiding the edge. And the mesh will be softer. And the game of colors will be more interesting. 1 minute, 2.5, and here. Yes, and now I want to make it even bigger, So I want this texture to be not so tiny, and what I want to add, so I want this texture to scroll along the mesh, and the next step I want to add here in this shader, I want to add a distortion so I can distort these caustic elements. And to add a distortion, this is a simple technique. Okay, first of all, I want to clean up a space here a little bit, so I can select all my nodes I want to group, and here I can select group selection and I will name it opacity mask. Here I want also to group these nodes, and I want to group select it, and I will name this group Fresnel effect. And this is going to be color. This is main texture, and this is going to be opacity. And now I want to add a distortion, so for the distortion I can just duplicate this setup but change the parameters, and I want texture vector to distortion tiling, and vector to distortion offset. For tiling I want default values to be 1, 1, for offset 0, 0, distortion texture, distortion tiling, and distortion offset. Also I want to multiply it by factor, distortion amount, and here default will be 0. And to distort the texture, I want to add this texture to the main UVs. As simple as that. And now I want this texture to be distorted, and for this I need a noise. And we can try Berlin noise, or let's try probably Gaussian noise, why not? Let's try Gaussian noise. I will save it. And I feel like I need a category for this too. So this will be distortion. And now if I put something here, this will be distorted. So for preview the distortion, I will pause the texture scrolling for now. I probably don't want it to be so bright. And so if I put some values here, it will be distorted, and I also can pan it. But what I want to do here, I can distort it and achieve quite an interesting look actually. And what I want this parameter distortion amount to be multiplied through time. So when the slash is starting, the distortion is 0, and when it goes down, it will be distorted. Not for this big amount, but probably for 0.5. And to achieve this, it's actually not very hard. I just need to replace the distortion amount with custom UV data, and if we put UV here and split the UV vector, we need a blue channel. And now we can control this through the particle system, and for this we need custom texture coordinate. So plus custom 1xy, and it will take the data from the shader, which will be corresponding to text coordinate 0, point ZW, and this means text coordinate 0. We can go here and we can have UV channel UV0. We can have up to 4 channels, but it will take this one, and 0, 0, ZV means B alpha, because this is RGBA is like X, Y, Z, W. So we are dealing with B, with Z, and this will be custom XY, and if I enable custom data here, I can choose vector here, and I have an access to vector XYZW, and I want a vector 2 XY, and now if I change the X value, it will be this distortion amount. I hope that makes sense. So I want to animate this parameter. I want curve something like this, but 0.5, and it's not more, probably it's not so visible now, but it adds some distortion. Probably I want this curve. So it's starting from 0, and then it starts to distort it. And to make it more visible, I want to add speed to the distortion, and like this, and I want to add speed here as well. So when the character will be make this splash, it will be like water. And now I feel like these colors are too uniform, and I want to add even more colors to the slash. So I won't be touching the back faces for now, but what I want to do is I want to go to my color, and here I have a multiplier, but I don't want to make a multiplier. Instead I want to front face color 1, and I want here front face color 2. I don't want to multiply this, but instead of multiplying, I want it to be linear interpolated. And what does it mean? And this means that lerp is a linear interpolation node, and it takes a linear y equals x curve and run it through the alpha. When it will be 0, this will be a black color and black dark color, and this will be the bright color, and we can color our textures this way. And what does it mean? This means that front face color, it's now like a background, so we don't want it to be really bright. We can stick to this color, but for this color we want it to be bright. And this will be the brightest color. And here I can go something like this. So if I put a red color here just to preview what I mean, this will be like the color that is in between the brightest part and the back faces. So I want it to be probably like this. And if we watch it, our element from the different angles, we will see different colors, and this could be cool. So if I run it now, and also I want to apply this shader to this another slash. So what I want to do, I want to duplicate this material, outer quarter, and probably I want to change some settings because I don't want it to be so bright. And I don't want it to scroll so fast, I want it to be more subtle, so I will reduce the speed for now. Also I want to add distortion here. And probably here I want it to go to the full one. I want to curve like this. And I definitely don't want it to be so bright, so I will reduce the brightness for the whole elements. I want it to be a subtle mesh. Also, I need it to be panning in the different direction for sure. I wanted to make more fatter mesh, but really subtle. And now it's too distracting. I don't want it to be rotating so much, so I will reduce the rotation speed, rotation over lifetime, but now it's not rotating. And what I want to do, I want to rotate the initial rotation of the mesh. Let it be -90. Let's watch. Okay, I want to position it better. Probably I want even make it even more. Oh yes, it's better for now. Yes, probably something like this will work. And now I'll try to play with colors. I want to add probably some different colors here, and to see how this will work. maybe some greens or maybe some violet. Probably something like this. I want to increase the power so we will have more strips. It's too much, I don't want it to be 1, probably 0.5. Okay, I know what I don't like. I want it to be stopping. I want it to stop rotating, so I will edit this curve. And now I want it to rotate in different direction. It's too much, if no. It's not as subtle as I want. Yes, and now I want to enhance the power back to see it better. This color should be brighter. Or probably not so bright. Something like this. Let's watch it from the camera view. Yeah, I want it to be scrolling probably in different direction. Yeah, so this is like this is going to be something like leaks. Probably I want to change tiling. Yes, something like this should be working. And now, to make it work not only for the first slash but also for the second slash, we need to go to our main prefab, overwrite all changes for the main prefab, then dive inside this prefab, and if we turn on the timeline we can see that nothing has changed, but if I override supply all for the first slash, the second slash will be adjusted automatically. And what we can see that this is working. So probably let's preview it from this view. Of course, for now these elements out. I also want to do here, I want to delete this emitter that we don't use, and I also want, by the way, if I dive into this prefab and if I will be doing some changes inside this prefab, this will automatically be applied to the all prefabs. So for now, probably I want to disable these 3 emitters so they won't be distracting us. Yes. Probably here I wanted to rotate even less. To bring my scene camera to the game view, I can do game object, align view to select it, and now my scene camera will be identical to the game camera. So I can preview it from the scene. No, now it's not. Now it's. If I do the angle even more, probably I want it to change size more subtle, but it's really subtle. Oh. So this outer slash is more like a residual energy, and I want it to be really subtle, but I want it to be presented in the scene because it adds some small details, and these details are very important. Now I feel like more or less it's something I want. Let's preview it from this angle, and from this angle it's not as beautiful as I want it to be, unfortunately. Probably I wanted to start it earlier. Yes. Probably I want texture scrolling, okay. Probably I want this curve to be different. And this curve probably I also want to start from 0. Yes. And also what I want is to offset it a bit, like this. And now if I want from this, watch from this angle. It stops. I don't want it to be stopped, but I want it to just slow down. And I can also add speed in this axis. So it will go a little bit inside. Yeah. Yes. So let's preview it from the all camera angles and then we decide if we love it or not. Alright, apply all. Alright, apply all. Okay, it's too bright. It's too bright and I want it to be subtle, but now it's definitely too bright, so what I want to do, I want... And why it's so bright? I want to reduce brightness over here and over here as well. I'm gonna reduce the intensity. Oh. And in this slash, I want to make it more intense. Okay, I don't use the channels. Oh. So what we want to avoid? We want to avoid white colors. Oh, this is something interesting. Let's check from side view. So what we can see from the side view? From the side view we can see that when we have a front face of our outer slash, this is going to be bright, and when we have like the back face, this is going to be not so bright. And this is actually what I wanted to achieve, because this part will be really bright. This is like the core of the slash, and this will be the brightest part, and it should be bright from the all points of view. So this is something I wanted to achieve. Let's check it from the back view. And from the back view it's not so bright, and probably this is beneficial for the player who will be playing this, because it won't be so distracting. But again, the core will be the brightest part. Yes, I feel like something like this could work. Okay, so let's bring back our emitters. Yes, and because the impact is quite bright, it feels like a good outer slash for the next steps. And that wraps up today's dressing stage. We finally gave the outer slash its first layer of energy, a soft stylized shader that begins to shape the personality of the effect. This shader is still evolving and there is a lot more I want to refine, but every pass helps the slash feel more alive. For me, the most important part today was walking you through the logic behind the choices. Why the flow looks the way it does, how the softness changes the mood, and what direction I want this effect to grow into. Next time we'll continue building on top of this foundation, adding more depth, texture and color to bring the slash closer to its final form. Thank you for watching. And as always, I'm doing my best learning with each step and sharing the journey as honestly as I can. See you in the next part.